Welcome back to Past the Aux. And Christian, what's up, dude?
Man, I'm having a great time, man. Glad to be back for another episode.
Say, it's great to have you here again. I mean, you've been on for like 4 episodes now.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Hell yeah.
But, because we didn't do it a lot last year, and so, just trying to leave a little mark at ISU.
Yeah.
Leave a mark at the station.
Well, you're fun to talk to, so.
I appreciate
that. Makes you feel
I enjoy
better.
talking.
Yeah. Well, today we have Pop or Flop, and we're going to talk about Astrofest, or Astroworld Fest, whatever. It's still a weird name for a festival.
Whatever you want to title it,
Yeah.
It's about Travis Scott. We know that much.
Either way, something's going on.
Yeah.
But first off, before we get right into it, what have you been listening to?
Oh, man. That new Summer Walker dropped.
Ooh, yeah. I started it. I haven't finished it yet, but...
Yes, I have also started it. Haven't finished it. Key Glock dropped Yellow Tape 2.
Oh, I listened to that instantly.
IDK dropped You See For Yourself, the Deluxe. Obviously, I listened to the Big Sean and Hit Boy EP.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't my favorite. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, wasn't terrible.
Yeah. Wale dropped Forlorn 2.
Yes.
We talked about this earlier. Moneybagg Yo with A Gangster's Pain. He dropped the Reloaded version, which I thought was good. And then Thug dropped Punk, which was probably the biggest one that I was listening to. I was in the mix about because I didn't know really what it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I know he announced that he was going to drop it a couple months back. End up having to get some delays with the label and stuff like that, and end up dropping it now. And so that's what I've been listening to, pretty much as far as new music is concerned.
Yeah.
Old music, still listen to Sincerely Kentrell. Obviously, he dropped the Deluxe a couple months back, but still listen to that. Still listen to Meek Mill's Expensive Pain. Certified Lover Boy and Baby Keem have definitely been in my playlist consistently. My favorite artist, Rod Wave. I'm not gonna let you forget our episode.
I'm not forgetting that.
Rod Wave, definitely keep Rod Wave in the playlist. But other than that, not much. Pretty much listen to the same music, same things in rotation. Spinning back to some old music, to study vibes or road trip vibes. Some of the older music go back to.
I know what you mean. Yeah. I'm honestly kind of the same. I really liked Wale's Forlorn 2, so that was in rotation for a long time. Just kind of rotating through all that stuff. Today, I did go re-listen to, Eternal Take. I went re-listen to it. I didn't
the deluxe or just the regular?
I started with just the regular.
Okay.
Because to me, I think that the deluxe is its own album.
It kind of is.
Yeah, and so I went and re-listened to just Eternal Take today, and tomorrow I'll probably do the deluxe. But I forgot how much I really missed that album.
It's definitely better. It's definitely aged pretty decently. I ain't gonna lie to you. I like the deluxe better personally.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have my songs off the deluxe that I like. And then I also, have some songs that's through that main album that I like as well. But it's not an album I really go back to with Uzi. If I'm going to go listen to Uzi, I'm going to listen to his earlier stuff. So Love Is Rage. Love Is Rage 2 is probably one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And then the Perfect Love tape. Those Love Is Rage, Love Is Rage 2, and then the Perfect Love tape are probably my 3 favorites.
Yeah. See, I'm a sucker for Lil Uzi Vert versus The World. So the deluxe to Eternal Take is my favorite because it really feels like a continuation.
Yeah.
But also
can't be mad at that.
Yeah, I didn't give Eternal Take enough love either when it first came out. I didn't really try and give it a try. But I was just thinking about the joke right now that Whole Lotta Red is a Christmas album. And it made me think of Uzi. And so I was like, you know what? Let's give Eternal Take a try because, it took me a few tries to get into Whole Lotta Red. But overall...
I won't get into a Whole Lot of Red. We've talked about this. That album sucks. I'm sorry.
Come on, man. But overall, that's about it. That's all I've been listening to. But today, as I said before, we're going to be doing a new segment entitled Pop or Flop.
Mm-hmm.
And today we're going to be talking about Astroworld Fest. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out as well as Travis had hoped it would.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like not even debating. There's just a lot of opinions being thrown around online.
No, definitely
And
agree
so
with that.
I think it'd be nice to kind of just talk it out.
Yeah, chime in, give them our own opinions.
Yeah, because I'm tired of seeing stuff on Twitter about it. So for those that don't know, Travis Scott threw his first ever festival which is themed around his album Astroworld, and he named it Astroworld Fest. And as simple as can be, unfortunately, 8 people were killed and injured, or there was more injured, but 8 people were killed in like the mosh pits and just the overall clutter and violence going around.
Yeah.
A lot of people are attributing it to understaffing the event, like not enough security or medics. Other people are saying it's Travis Scott's fault for enticing the crowd. Some people are even blaming Drake because they said that the most violent and crazy moment that the crowd had was when Drake came out to perform Sicko Mode. And there's just a lot going on. But overall, what do you think?
I don't think Travis Scott obviously has some blame in it, but like it's not the blame that we should be attributing to him. Like,
exactly.
I think it's more of, you sold 50,000 tickets. It's probably more than 50,000 people there. I mean, more than 50,000 people there. And so, reading some of the articles and the interviews and everything like that, there probably wasn't enough people staffed. And that's kind of where you have to place the blame and attribute to Travis Scott.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you see clips on Twitter. You see some clips where like it's fans that's saying stop the show. But like when I see those clips, I see it from very far back from the center stage, like at the beginning of the stage where Travis Scott is, where he can actually see fans. And then you see other clips online where like Travis Scott stopped the show at one point. Like he actually said, hey, somebody needs some help. Like, hey, stop the show. Somebody needs some help.
He was even saying like, don't touch him.
Right. Like,
can we get someone over here to help him?
Can we get somebody over there to help him? Right.
Exactly.
And so like, you can't just like vilify Travis Scott because he showed you that he actually cares about his fans. Like he stopped the show when if it was visible to him, or if like if you hear just the entire crowd saying stop the show, as an artist, I'm going to stop the show. Yeah. But like if you only hear people from the back, like if you have people in the 30,000 seat range, you probably not hearing it.
There's no way he can hear them.
Yeah, you're probably not hearing it. And so I think his blame in this is on the fact that it was probably understaffed. Like I was reading, this is in the Vulture. The last time they updated the story was October 8th, so it was the last time it was updated. But it was about 594 police officers and like private security.
Yeah,
that's not enough for a 50,000 crowd people. And so I don't place the blame solely on Travis Scott. I think the fans do have some blame and responsibility in this as well.
Yeah, and also like a lot of these people had broken down barricades to get in. Yeah, and you can't make that Travis Scott's fault. Right. If anything, exactly, the only, like you said, you can only blame him for understaffing it all. And even then, how is he supposed to know that this was going to happen?
Right, you can't. Like, so my thing is, I don't blame him for like all the situations that occurred, because as I'm a finance major, so like I'm gonna just use some math terms, but it's gonna make sense. That's a variable you can't account for. Yeah. Obviously, you can account for mosh pits and people getting hurt because you're Travis Scott. You know who you are. Mm-hmm. Mosh pits and people getting hurt. You can't account for like everything else that went on, like the reported incidents of like people getting stabbed with stuff, or people having cardiac. Like it was 8 people that had cardiac. You had 8 people that passed away from a 50,000 crowd, from a 50,000 people crowd. And so like that's very difficult to account for. Mm-hmm. Obviously, everybody's not going to walk away like 100%. Like obviously you can account for people getting injured, but you can't account for people dying. You would expect the crowd to have enough sense. Don't get me wrong, they love Travis Scott. Like you would have enough sense for them to be like, okay, these people are hurt, these people are injured. Like let's move them away, let's get them to safety, and then continue the show, continue to have fun. Mm-hmm. And that didn't happen. And we have clips to prove that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like you see people. There were people that were blocking the ambulance and jumping on like police cars and squad cars. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. I get that you want to have fun at a festival, and I'm not saying like I'm not just like bashing anybody that was there at the, the festival or nothing like that.
There's nothing wrong with moshing either. Like,
you know
that's part of going to a concert.
It's part of the enjoyment, the experience.
Happens.
It's just like at some point you gotta be like, okay, let's just get this guy to safety first and continue the show.
Exactly.
It's a 2-day show. I'm pretty sure a majority of people got 2-day tickets.
Yeah.
So
there's nothing wrong with going to a Travis Scott concert that you know is going to be like just completely teed up and lit. There's no problem going and doing that and going and getting in a mosh pit, you know?
Right.
And like it's not Travis Scott's fault that the mosh pits happen. He just makes music that people want to rage to, which is fine. But like, you know, and that's not me saying like, well, you're at fault for going. You should have known that you were going to get hurt in a mosh pit.
No.
But you should have known you were going to get in a mosh pit.
Yeah, that's because there's an expected risk. So like,
the proper way is
go ahead.
The proper way to mosh pit is don't get hurt. You know, the whole goal isn't to hurt people, and you know, I think everyone knows. I think even Travis Scott knows that. But some people just get caught in like the movement of it all. You know, like people trip and fall, and usually there's a giant hole that's made, and people help them up, and then they're back to partying.
Right.
But how can Travis Scott play babysitter or, you know, play dad to 100,000 people?
Exactly.
And, you know, granted, like, yes, there's things that he could have done differently, but he's not at fault for all of it. Just like he's not at fault for the moshes in general. Like, people are saying, like, he enticed the crowd and all that, but, like, what are you supposed to do?
That's your job as a performer.
He didn't run out there and say, let's get crazy and kill each other. No, he came out there and said, let's turn it up.
Exactly. And his fans reacted to that as they should.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think
some of the fans acted a little too wild.
Yeah.
And I honestly
can agree with that.
I'd assume that the ones that were actually like hitting people and like someone got stabbed apparently, I had to say that those are the fans that broke down the barricade and didn't want to pay for a ticket.
Probably so.
And that's just, you know, that's part of it sometimes when you're an artist as big as Travis Scott is you have to properly prepare and have security for those things.
Yeah. I don't know. I think this is a learning experience, not only for Travis Scott, but other artists. You know, I think, not going to say festivals are always going to happen. Like, I don't think they're ever going to cancel festivals.
Oh, yeah.
I think Travis Scott should throw another Astroworld. Like, you know, give it some more time. Whenever he wants to plan another one, I think he should throw one.
Oh, yeah.
But I think you're going to start to realize and you're going to start to see that, like, festivals may not become one artist things anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's going to be like,
if Travis Scott is going to do that, he needs a bigger venue.
Or he's gonna do it in something like a stadium or something like that.
Yeah. He honestly shouldn't be throwing a festival if he's the only one that's there the whole time.
I mean, I agree and I disagree because it's just the fame and accolade that Travis Scott has reached. Like,
no, I understand that.
You know,
I just meant like if he wants to do a 2-day concert, he can do a 2-day concert. Plenty of artists have done that. But there's no need to turn it into a whole festival if there's only one stage and only so much room, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, Lala, that whole place that it's at, huge.
Right.
There's, 5-6 stages there? That's how a festival's ran. So I feel like Astroworld Festival would be really cool if he could have 2 or 3 stages, him being the headliner for one of them, and then at the end of it all, like, he just has a whole bunch of artists that he enjoys or just wants there.
Okay.
Because that would be cool, you know? Like, he loves giving back to Texas and, like, showing his Texas roots. Have a stage that's all up-and-coming Texas artists, you know? Like...
See, I feel you. I think where for myself, I think I see the difference in it is, like, I would love for him to just pack out football stadiums.
Yeah.
Because that keeps the crowd and the containment, but it's also big enough to where everybody can see you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I just looked it up. I just want to see the numbers.
Yeah, I agree.
The 25 largest college football stadiums, obviously I'm not going to list them off, but we have Texas A&M at 4. They hold 102,000 people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's in Texas. You have some other ones that are very close to Texas. Texas itself, like Texas, the university, they hold 95,000 people. And so, he has such this fame, such this accolade. I don't think it'd be anything. It would probably bring in more revenue to the universities if they was to bring him in. Like, hey, Travis, you know what I'm saying? You get this whole football stadium to yourself, so you can perform on the whole stadium, or whole football field, and all the fans have to be in the stadium.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that would be crazy beneficial.
I think that would be great. I think, even like for Indianapolis, he could do Lucas Oil. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think, no, I really like that idea because that way people can't just break in that easily either.
Right.
Like security will get you by the time you even get close to where the other people are.
I think this is a learning experience of like the big festivals have always done it right. And people have died at big festivals. Like, I'm not going to get you wrong. People have died at Coachella. People have died at Lollapalooza.
Those, are obviously not contributed to like the artist too.
Rolling Loud, all of that. People have passed out from
a lot of people
and died from different things.
Yeah. And a lot of times people are, at a music festival, people are going to be like, a lot of people are going to be on drugs.
Yeah.
They're going to be just going crazy. A lot of them dehydrate themselves. They don't drink enough water. And I feel like a lot of the deaths there are contributed to dehydration or just going too crazy off drugs. Because, like, they keep, at music festivals like that, like huge ones, they keep like the moshes, they separate them off into like smaller ones instead of one giant one, as they should. And I'm not saying that they didn't do that at Astroworld Fest because, like, we've seen all the videos and stuff, Saw the video of Travis trying to stop he stopped the concert briefly.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with how he approached it from the stage and whatnot. But I agree with you being like, if he did stadiums, you're less likely to lose more fans that way.
And you could pay less security. I hate to say it, but you could pay less security and have it be in tighter control. So, like, if somebody was to pass out or, like, because a lot of people, like, the people that died when it's a cardiac arrest, there was multiple that went to the hospital. Like, and it was such a big age range. Like, I think one of the victims who didn't die but was a victim that ended up going to the hospital was like 10 years old.
Yeah.
And so, like, you have that massive age range, and you're trying to control all that, and you can't control all that with a crowd of 50,000 people. You see a 10-year-old get into a mosh pit, you never know what can happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And and then there you gotta, because this wasn't just a normal Travis Scott concert, like he wanted this to be the biggest thing he's ever done. And in that case, you might have to put like an age restriction on it.
Yeah.
Or maybe even height or weight restriction, because I know some 16-year-olds are just built like an NFL player.
Right.
And so like they could probably handle it. So I don't think it would be fully fair to make it like an 18 or up thing. But at the end of the day, like, it's still like a 10-year-old. If you want to take your 10-year-old to a Travis Scott concert, let's not put him in a mosh pit.
Yeah.
And like, and I'm not saying it's on them per se that it happened, because they can't control that. But also like you said, the age difference was wild. It was all over the place, and there's just a lot contributing to it more than just Travis Scott, throwing a festival and ended up poorly
and inciting the crowd, which he didn't do. As an artist, I'm supposed to get my crowd hyped. Like,
exactly,
they're here to see me. They want to see the best performance I can put on.
And that's
why would I not try and do that? Why would I not try and live up to that expectation?
Yeah, and that's the worst accusation people are giving him. He never once said like, "Hey, go dive in that mosh pit,"
or like,
"Hey, go stab your fellow concert goers."
Hey, let's jump on the ambulance and get out the way.
Yeah, no, like if an ambulance is there and a police car is there, I don't care what your views are politically, let them do their job.
Because they're there for a reason.
They are there at that concert to make sure you're okay.
That's what I'm saying. At the end of the day,
that's not the time to get like political or start acting like a hooligan and just start like just breaking things. Like, You can go to a concert, have a good time in mosh pit, and leave without having tried to commit some form of vandalism.
Yeah.
And I understand, like, it's Travis Scott. You know, he picks up the mic stand and holds it over his head and screams while there's fire everywhere.
Or like I think back to that. Even like when I see the videos and stuff like that, I think like he did Days Before the Rodeo, where he has, you know, Days Before the Rodeo with the blue background. He's on top of, I think he's on top of an ambulance actually, which is kind of ironic. But I think he's on top of an ambulance, and it's like, that's just the album cover though. Yeah. Like that's all paid for. That's all set up.
Just like his set pieces.
You shouldn't be doing that in real life for something this dangerous.
Yeah, just like the Astroworld tour. He's not telling fans to go to Kings Island and try to rap while they're hanging from the bottom of a roller coaster.
Because that's not real.
It's all set pieces. It's all like, it's his persona, you know? Like, it's his onstage character. Like, just like for the Birds in the Trap tour, he had these giant wings that flew him over the stage. And at the end of the day, like, his thing is like, let's rage, let's get wild. But he has never once been like, hey, when you guys come to a concert of mine, please just go ahead and just blow up. Try to go fight. Everyone go jump on the ambulance or jump on this police car. Make it to where people get hurt, you know? The whole thing is just crazy, you know?
It is. You know, I feel bad for him in a way. Just because people are literally trying to go after him like legally for this.
Him and Drake are both being sued for $5 million each.
And somewhere along those lines, there's going to be some type of legality that comes back to get them. I hate to say it, but it's the truth.
Unfortunately, yeah.
But I know as just the way Travis Scott talks about his fans, and you know, I feel like he's very genuine in everything he does, and so I feel bad that he, you know, his festival is the one that had to go bad. Yeah. And he had to lose 8 fans and send other fans to the hospital because of, you know, actions that he couldn't control but are now placed on him.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the worst part about the incident, where it's like, this is something we shouldn't be trying to place blame on everybody with. It should be something we should figure out how to not let this happen again.
Exactly.
Because it was too many unknown variables to consider this like something that you could counteract.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If it was only like 10,000 people and this situation happened and you had 8 people die, like that's a more justifiable thing because you have a smaller crowd. I know 10,000 is still a lot, but like that's a smaller crowd for somebody like Travis Scott, and you have 8 people die at your set. Like that's a different variable than having 50,000, probably more, unaccounted for come to the set. And basically, I don't want to say ruin your festival, but like now your festival has a negative light on it. I don't think it's gonna be. I think he can recover. Like I said, Astroworld, the festival will recover from this. I think he should throw another one.
Yeah, no, I know he can recover from it. Yeah. Because like at the end of the day, I do partially feel bad for him because like he's getting all this stuff that shouldn't be thrown on him, you know. Mm-hmm. But you know, like but also like I understand, like yeah, he should have staffed the event better, and like yeah, technically it's kind of like your kids are another embodiment of you, so the way your kid acts, you know, reflects on you,
right?
Kind of works for like his fans, his crowd,
yeah.
And so like, you know, but also like they're like pinning deaths on him when all he was doing was like performing, you know,
yeah.
And he obviously, whether he's famous or not, I don't think he wants people to just die.
No.
And, you know, that's everyone's got their own opinions about Travis Scott, but just straight up calling him like a murderer or whatever.
Yes, you can't do that. Like that's not
fair.
That's not fair. That's not right. Like,
because at the end of the day, like, you know, he's probably a mess right now too. Like I know it took him a minute to respond, but apparently he was seen like backstage when everything got shut down and whatnot after people were dying. Like he was back there crying and like, you know, and he's paying for all the funeral costs for the families. He's paying off hospital bills, you know, and like, I don't think anyone wanted this to happen. And so like trying to say that he just didn't care is the wrong way to approach it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think he can recover. And whether it is another Astroworld Fest or he does something like Utopia inspired, I think he will recover. Because, I mean, I don't think anyone's become not a fan of his over this. If anything, they just got mad at him.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's always something negative people are going to say about you when you're in the spotlight.
And something bad and something bad happens. Yes,
Yeah.
it's a double-edged sword being in the limelight.
Yeah. And unfortunately, you know, he had to witness one of the biggest lessons an artist should learn. Unfortunately, he had to learn it in the worst way possible, which is losing lives. You know, because, like, it's just like in the 90s, every band, like Nirvana and all them, they dealt with the same things because, like, people were, like, moshing but hurting themselves. And, you know, at the end of it all, like, that's where, like, concert awareness became a huge thing. Like, Linkin Park, when they used to perform, they would shut down the whole, they would stop mid-set, mid-song, and they'd be like, hey, we saw someone fall down out there. And then, like, they'd get the crowd hyped again by saying, like, hey, we're here to have fun and go crazy, but we can't have that if you guys aren't being safe and all that. It's just another lesson that every artist has to learn, you know? Like, you got to put safety above everything, even if your whole vibe is let's rage. But, you know, like I said, I don't want to blame Travis Scott for everything. Like, it's just the worst way he could have learned the lesson, and he's obviously not an artist that everyone's trying to cancel right now.
Yeah.
It was just a tragic event. You know, he's not known for people dying at his concerts. And like you said, it happens at festivals. And, you know, sometimes it is just brought on what they do to themselves at festivals. And sometimes it's not on the artist at all, because how can the artist find one specific person doing wrong out of a crowd of 100,000 people?
Right. If you can't make a big enough noise around that, like that one singular person or that one event, like it's gonna be difficult to pick it out of 50,000 people.
Exactly.
I just think about it because I read a quote from somebody that was there, and they said, you know, mosh pits were everywhere. So it's like, if you're seeing mosh pits everywhere, how do you really know where to go? Especially with the 50,000 people. So you got people in the front, you got people in the middle, you got people all the way in the back. And your security's probably trying to weave in and out through that. And so, like, they have to be just as detailed to listen to something like that as anybody else. Like, crowd control is a thing. The police talked about riots. Like, riots are probably a thing. Or not even probably a thing. They are a thing that could happen. Not because Travis Scott said, let's riot, but people are so amped up off of adrenaline and energy and everything like that. Like, and you're trying to tell me to stop my fun.
Yeah.
You know, you can see how that gets to going.
Yeah. And, you know, those people, there was also, you know, people were purposely trying to keep medics and
people away.
Yeah. There's that. And from what I read, apparently there was someone in the crowd just randomly injecting people with drugs.
Yeah. I heard a security guard.
So, like, you can't blame Travis for that.
No.
The only thing that would have changed that would be security, you know? Like, when they go through security, you know, no guns, no needles, none of that stuff. If they're one of the people that broke in, that's the worst luck possible. And, you know, and yes, security should have been on it, but they were also distracted because people wouldn't even let them get through. People were, like, building up walls of people, and they were just not letting anyone in. And riots happened. It's just crazy because Travis obviously noticed it. Someone posted the video and was like, hey, let's not crucify this man. As you can see, he's on top of a giant metal, like, standing spot, apparently. And he can see one person fell down.
And he stopped the show for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, and there's, like, the videos of people saying, stop the show, or, you know, but then you can also hear other people that are screaming, like, screw them, let's keep the show going. And, like, that's messed up. The whole thing, you know, it's a tragedy. You know, my heart goes out to all the families of the 8 people that passed.
Right. 100%.
My heart even goes out to Travis Scott.
Definitely
because,
does.
You know, whether he planned on it or not, like...
Don't crucify the man.
Or, I mean, not, you know what I mean? Not... He didn't plan on people dying, but, you know, like, he planned the concert. And so, like, whether he's in the wrong or not, he didn't want anyone to die.
Right. He didn't want nobody to get hurt.
Yeah.
To physically pass away from his concert.
Yeah. I definitely worded that wrong, but
No, you're good.
whether whether he's in the wrong or not, no one wants anyone to die. So like my heart goes out to him because that's gotta suck. That's like he probably feels like all that's in his hands already, and so people crucifying him on the internet about it
Isn't doing him any justice. No.
exactly. And so short of that, like it's an awful thing, and I hope everything gets back to normal for the most part for Travis, and I hope the families have their proper grieving time and whatnot, and for the most part, I don't want it to blow over, but I hope it gets handled properly and no one gets in trouble for something that's not their fault. I just want this. I feel like it should just be more of a learning thing. Travis is already doing the right thing by paying and helping out in the best way he can.
No, I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, but that's about all I have to say on it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar boat with you.
I think we covered it pretty well. And he canceled his Day in Vegas set, which he probably needs that. He probably can't perform after all that happened. He needs a little time off.
Time to recover.
Yeah. But once again, thank you for coming on the show.
No, I appreciate it. I enjoyed the conversation today, talking about
Let me say, it's pretty
one of
cool.
our favorite artists here at the station.
Yeah, it was pretty cool doing something that, for like an artist that we all love, but also it's pretty cool doing something a little bit on the serious note instead of just playing a game.
Yeah.
I think this whole new popper flop thing is pretty cool. We can use it for like news, debates, and stuff like that. I think that'd be fun.
Definitely can.
But yeah, thank you for being on. It's always great having you on here.
It's always great being on here.
You're great.
You're great.
Oh, stop. You make me blush. But thank you to everyone who watched on Twitch. You're all great. We love you. And we will be back next week on Pass the Aux.